and gentlemen, welcome to our session on the eve of Abu Dhabi Art, titled Drifting Identities, Contemporary Art from the Silk Road. My name is Julia Lechbinska. Being trained initially as a Western art historian, I was not always agree with the discourse I was taught and started to focus on global art histories, particularly East Asian region. So this academic research led me to founding my own gallery here in Zurich, Lechbinska Gallery. And today I'm moderating a talk with two fantastic artists, Almagul Menlibayeva from Kazakhstan, who is going to be represented by Pygmalion Gallery at Abu Dhabi Art Fair, and Gvantsa Jishkariani from Georgia, who is an artist herself, but also a co-founder of the Why Not Gallery in Tbilisi. Zhanna Nugerbek, who was also announced to join us, will pass this session, unfortunately. And a small organizational remark on today, we encourage an interactive participation of all the guests. Please send your questions into the Q&A chat. You will see it at the top of all the icons, and I will try to incorporate it into the discussion. So what is contemporary Silk Road? Is it only a historical network of trade routes connecting merchants, but also nations in Eurasia? Or is it the Grand Belt and Road Initiative with its high technological infrastructures as we have it today? How do we relate to that? Infrastructures are spatio-temporal constructs. They alter our relations to resources, to cultures, geographies, but also to our past, present, and our future. Infrastructures guarantee the possibility of something. Water comes from the tap, a train that comes on time, but on the other hand, their effects are also inherently uncertain. There is a great urgency in attuning to this discourse. More than money, materials, and labor, the Belt and Road Initiative trades the currencies of hope and fear. And the artists are surely up in front there to reflect on these changes. Almagul, I invite you first to open our talk and help us to understand what kind of metamorphosis were you and your nation, your country, Kazakhstan, were in for the last 30 years after the fall of Soviet Union, and also what kind of challenges you're facing today during the Belt and Road Initiative being the process of building up. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much for invitation. I'm very happy to participate. Yes, I will be happy to share my screen and to show. I did several many works about Silk Road, and this is what I wanted to share. First is there is a map of the video, which I did specially a video for it's a video for map for the video works what I did. It's a textile, which is I work with AI together as a technology together with a handmade work, and this is for all my video installations, which I did during the last 10 years. And I made it, I put all one of my work installation and also put like marks here, you can see it. And then some of them I'm going to show you today. So first work I would like to show you, it's a project called Mother Water Gulbibi Balkhash. It's dedicated to the lake and problems of the lake in Kazakhstan, which is the main source of the sweet water. So Yulia, please tell me if you can hear. Oi. I'm sorry, just I don't understand, I don't hear voice. I don't hear you. Do you hear me? I don't hear.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, Almagul, could you please explain us, sorry, could you please explain us about this work? So it's quite a recent one, right, from 2024.
Yes, it's quite a recent one, and I just actually wanted to say, ask you, do you hear because I have some technical problems. Do you hear the sound from the video?
Yes, we heard the sound. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a work about Balkhar Sea, which is it was a part of the project which organized by Artcom. It's a Kazakhstan group. They were focusing on Sweetwater, and I made the work mix together with my personal story about this lake, and also because my mother she lives there and she died in close to this area. So when I did this work and used AI technology, just to also first it's also kind of understand, because this technology also raising a lot of questions, where we are, what we do, how we're going to kind of see ourselves. And also it's also of course part of the Silk Road, because I have a different ways, like views on Silk Road. So one of them, Silk Road, which is we usually refer for like a middle ages, but it's also other. I would like to include rethinking what is Silk Road. When is a totalitarian ideology build or make their own structure, or like playing in a global kind of race, let's say, who is what. And then I took Stalin's Silk Road during Soviet time, because we had also nuclear test field, labor's camp. Usually people work for free or just to. So I wanted also that can be also as a kind of also as experience for other ways of running new Silk Roads. So I wanted just to keep mind, and then I wanted to share my screen. Also wanted to show you the rest.
But the main challenges this region is facing is due to the environmental issues or due to the infrastructure which is being built at the moment there.
It's all together. It's a kind of complicated situation. It's because we have a legacy, like what we have from the Soviet Union, of course.
Like this Menlibayeva tank, for example.
Yes, yeah. So this is why I'm taking a base on this, because it's Malevich tank. It's a project come from the Aral Sea, and this sea is during the Soviet time, because of the industrialization and also like a modernity, or like really about the progress. The people were very industrial oriented, but in the end, this lake, as we know, it's it's fade away. And I made this work like Malevich as a kind of, he was very very into the industrialization, new Soviet people, or a kind of so it was a big like a race, who will be first, and how which kind of regimes, or which kind of geopolitically, who will embrace industrialization. So I think it's the same which is going now. It's like on always continue this kind of topic. So we are entering now in this globalized, really globalized world. It's like a third stage. And I think it's like why I'm raising these problems, because all this, problems never resolved, and they just became bigger and bigger. So, and wanted to show that. And there is a very small piece of the transaction dreams.
It's a bit earlier work, 2013. We do not completely hear the sound.
Maybe the sound will come later because it's
due to the connection, probably the sound will delay a bit. Would you please maybe in your words say what's this work about?
Yeah, this work about Aral Sea, about the girl who is a very small girl who is living in this area where she never saw a lake, she never sees sea, but her father every day goes and he's kind of trying to find for her fish. So it's about this girl, and of course the animals. I try to look differently where the sea is appearing as a kind of more like maybe kind of criticizing like a anthropocenic view where we see only human problems, but we always don't see the other position, other lake or animals, insect in the nature. So this work is about that the girl is connected very much to the nature and what is going on around her.
Thank you.
So the next also work, which I was actually going to present with the gallery Pygmalion during the art fair. So this work is called Nuclear Chepan. We actually also, as a part of the, so let's call totalitarian Silk Road, where we were participating like a racing for during the Cold War. So because Kazakhstan had a very big area of nuclear test field, and of course it became part of our conversation, kind of understanding who we are. So I made it Nuclear Chepan. But Chepan is a traditional dress. And then I kind of made some kind of, versions of what I think, how it can be, the new kind of understanding of ourselves, so I did it also, it's more abstract work. And the another work I did also want to present, it's a Ulugh satellite. In 2020, I did a project. It's a site-specific project. I was invited to participate in Lahore Biennale 2020, and it was curated by Hur Al-Qasimi. And I did a work about Ulugh. He was a scientist and also a political figure in that time, and he was an astronomer. It was also it's a part of Islamic astronomy, which is took part in Central Asia. I wanted also people to kind of connect that, people know about that, but it's I thought it's also a good way to talk about through the contemporary perspective and lenses what we talk about. Yeah, and this work also will be presented by a Pygmalion gallery. So it's a Ulugh satellite. So the thing is how we perceive, how we see space and cosmos now, and how in 15th century a relation to the nature and the space was in Central Asia. So I wanted also to kind of put together these different views.
Thank you.
And the last work, it's called Architecture Other Fabric. It's a photography. It's a print on paper. It's a real topic of Central Asia and Silk Road. So this building of 11th century belongs to the legend of love. Her name was Aisha Bibi and her beloved Karahan. So it's this couple lived in the end of 10th century. So it's a beautiful building, but it's also Taras was a place where was a lot of Silk Road. Of course, there was a big development, and then because of this development, it's my opinion, of course, also it's evolving a lot of human relationship and woman situation, like a gender situation. It's quite very interesting how economics bring a different point in the relationship of the some personal kind of
Maybe we
perspective.
can step into this question a bit later in the discussion when we start to speak about the new markets. Gvantsa, I would like maybe to bring you into the discussion. Last time we talked briefly last week, you mentioned that Georgia also was part of Silk Road, and lots of nations, lots of folks, even Arabs, reached Georgia, and that influenced the country or like the region immensely. And you did even a small research on that. Would you please present how do you reflect that in your art practices?
Hi, everyone. So my research is ongoing. It hasn't been finished, but my general research and general interest in art is how the taste is created. And in that sense, I also work a lot with crafts, techniques of crafts, which are initially pretty much, they have attached meanings and attached visuals or aesthetics to them. Is it like a felt or a woven tapestry or mosaic or anything else? And with that, I really am interested into diving the directions that the art or the taste has taken by being influenced both with the Western influences and the Eastern, which the Georgia is like in the position, like in the center of both of it. And over the many centuries, we had both like Eastern and Western people coming here and like doing different businesses, good or bad, but still like leaving their mark. And with the Western-oriented country that Georgia is, we tend to kind of like forget or force ourselves to forget the impact that all these centuries of being under Arabs or like being neighbors of this and that countries, the marks that these left on us. And yeah, like that's, and I'm pretty much interested into tweaking the minds of people in that aspect to like, in one way, like how what this craft has to be used, that people believe that this is how it should be used, this is how it must look like, and plus the influences that we tend to deny, like this word is from there, or the sentence or the phrase comes from this place or something connected to that, to like briefly generalize it. But mostly I believe, sadly we cannot see my presentation, but I can tell you about our work across many medias, starting from performance and video art, ending with absolutely traditional, again, craft techniques, felt woven tapestries, a lot of mosaics. And again, I also love to destroy or like change the accepted and existing pieces of art that during the Soviet period were pretty dominant in everyone's household. And I'm also founder of the galleries, contemporary art galleries in Tbilisi of Georgia, and I'm a curator of these galleries as well. So I do have both perspectives from the gallery side and from the artist side. And
before maybe you step into your role as a gallerist, maybe we go quickly to your work.
Yeah, so these are like some images of my most recent exhibitions, and if we switch to other, we can see that I do like to create the in a way surrealistic and really intense environments, and plus I believe my art is quite intense itself, but I do like to put it into even more intense settings and display it like that.
Hi, Bao.
Hi, Bao.
Yes, sorry, I was in a call with Kat.
Sorry, someone forgot to turn off the mic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
Gvantsa, please continue.
Because I do believe that the environment that I am making these artworks, even though they might be, some of them might be like conventionally beautiful or like pretty pretty straightforward, understandable for most of the public. I do like to put them in the environment and in the intensity that it was made in. It might be an image or a painting or a tapestry of a flower, depicting a flower, and like in a tranquil situation wherever, but it actually is made in bazaars of Tbilisi, in the secondhand, between the secondhand clothing stalls and all that. So I do like to create not only exhibitions and not only like some room where I show my art, but also experience, which I do force people to navigate certain way, or like feel it by their like feet or hand, or by hearing something. It can be like a room full of twigs, which people have to walk on top. So like it's different sensual experiences, the exhibitions themselves. But art, I believe most of it is pretty political. And it has a lot of humor as well, because to me, humor is a way of survival, and to my country as well, I see it that way. So humor as a way of survival, but also like tweaking the accepted norms. Is it political norm, a social history norm, or just the aesthetical norms attached to technique or material, is pretty much what I'm interested in having fun around.
Thank you, Gvantsa. We still hope to see your presentation.
Yes,
maybe it will come up. Leonard, would you help us on that? I also encourage all the listeners to ask questions to both of the artists, so that we can maybe afterwards process with them. Gvantsa, I would like maybe to refer to your role as a gallerist, because as we spoke last time, that due to the fact that Georgia does not have like at the moment, we hope to see it soon, any institution which will support contemporary art, gallerists, like the young professionals, overtook the role of art historians, or also criticism, and also push the boundaries of the contemporary art markets. Would you please relate on that? What is your position? How do you position yourself as a local market, but also, for example, in the like outside of Georgia, for example, in the Middle East? You're on mute. You're still on mute?
Apologies, I was trying to share the screen. Anyway, so both of my galleries were not started to be commercial spaces, or the galleries in like traditional sense of them. Both of them were started as the project spaces mostly, but again, pioneering project spaces in the country. And so our main goal wasn't to be like on the market, but to again like give space to art we believe in. Well, I'm not saying that two things are necessarily against each other, but anyway, that's how we started. And with the Why Not, it evolved to the larger gallery with a white cube kind of looking space, but still keeping the project space mindset to it. And that means that we don't approach the market same way as the rules say that it has to be approached. And so again, I don't have the education for it as well if we talk about it, but in general sense, like the galleries we see are the only institutions,
Agents.
so to say, or any agents that do anything for the artists and for the market and for the art as well. And their driving force, like it's individual initiatives, mostly unpaid, of these galleries who do achieved a lot in last maybe like 8-10 years. And it's not many galleries, it's up to 10 who work in contemporary art, and that's it. But their presence is on every major art fair and every major exhibition or whatever is happening around the world. You can find at least one Georgian gallery in that. And I believe that's not mostly, but like half of it is fueled by the artists who in here are yeah, there's a lot of artists, but not to be compared to other large cities around the world. But the quality of art and the meaning of the art that they are creating is pretty much speaking with many people around the world. So they kind of like help the galleries to have their presence as high as they do have it now. But speaking from the institutions, like it's been many years since the galleries, the artists, other art professionals, curators, managers, been talking, and not only there's been a lot of programs and a lot of like not rules, but the guidebooks that these people have created together. But again, the government involvement or interest in contemporary art or any visual art is like close to zero, I can clearly say.
But what kind of
But,
guidebooks are this? Guidebooks for the
not just
exhibitors
like
or?
no, it's the cultural politic guidebook for that we have offered to the government. Maybe like you think about it, or maybe like look into it or implement it in a way, because I don't know, like it's absolutely necessary. And at some point, like the galleries gets tired and artists gets tired of like carrying themselves and not having
Absolutely.
funds to like continue going or even grow, because again the country is quite small, so at some point you need to do something else, and it cannot be only on galleries shoulders. But
Absolutely.
again, I'm not saying that the government involvement is like absolutely necessary and like it must be the only one, but it is necessary in a way that it helps everyone in art to be better. And without them, like in a small country like that, there's little space to go.
Absolutely. Almagul, how Kazakhstan is different on this position? What has been done already to this period, to this date? Because I know that next year you have a new institution being opened up, right? A contemporary art museum in Almaty, and you also have support from the private hand, right? The Nurlan Smolgulov, for example, he supports, like with the help of his foundation, supports contemporary art. Could you please maybe come back to this question?
Yeah, we actually had a very long way to get to this point, what we have now. So at the beginning, yeah, we had a very like a. So now we have we are waiting for opening of Almaty Museum of Art. So it's founded by Nurlan Smagulov. And I was invited to have a solo show, a retrospective show. So we're going to see the works from the 90s, which is very important for us. Also, fall of the Soviet Union, the time and then beginning of independence of Kazakhstan. And we also going to have also opening Celine Art Center, which is also in Almaty. It's a private foundation, which is very active at the moment. Also, we have exhibition shows, they do workshops, but we'll have they will have official big, beautiful building, which is the old building theaters Celini. So it's kind of a very historical also place. So
could you
yeah.
maybe explain to our listeners what is Celina is?
Yeah. Celina is like a virgin land. So it was also, let's say at the beginning, I just wanted to share that in the 30s, we had during the collectivization and industrialization, because of that, we had a famine of nomadic people, where died about 50% of the people. So of course in these lands, empty lands, they were like building up the economy, like industrialization, the factories, and one of the also project was a virgin land. It's like a making from all that places land growing wheat. So, like, of course, the Soviet Union was very closed, and everything was distributed all over Soviet Union. So actually, the same thing probably happens with Aral Sea, because rice and cotton was growing in Uzbekistan, and it became with the time major the part playing big like in economics of Uzbekistan, of course. So it was a very bad distribution. How I mean, we are facing also now, like also within other countries, but this was how was a very bad management of resources, which industrialization brought us.
Thank you, Almagul. Gvantsa, we finally see your presentation, and I know that you come to the fair with 2 other artists. Could you maybe present them as well? Because they're quite particular. One is contemporary, like young generation artist, and one is even an artist estate, right?
Yes, correct. So we're sharing the book with another Georgian gallery, with CH64 is the gallery name, which on this little sketch here is presented on the left side. So I'm just going to talk about the why not to not to not take long. So on the right side is like my artworks, the felt work, the mosaics, and then we have Tamas Nutsubidze, who is this is the estate that you were talking about. So Tamas Nutsubidze's estate. He was the prominent Georgian artist, father of the textile arts department in the Georgia, and kind of like a big textile arts guy in the Soviet Union. He did help a lot of artists whose tapestries we probably like see around post-Soviet countries, or not only, to create their works. And he was pretty experimental in it, meaning that in textile art, since during the Soviet censorship period, it was more accepted to do experiments and to go even more abstract or do like different stuff that the other medias were not that easily allowed to. So he created this tapestry that we're showing is by him, and is one of the few pieces that we also bring in the fair with this piece. And it's a mixture of different techniques as well, and different ways of weaving, but also like creating large landscapes of different sorts, which are pretty impressive and pretty contemporary, speaking from that these works were created from 50s till early 2000s. And the second artist is a young Georgian painter, Nata Varazi, and her surrealistic paintings we're bringing there. She's quite a lot uses the symbols of the that are mostly attached to the female, or like femininity, and but twist them with a more solid symbols like the metal or the soil or the wood, and then creates the surrealistic interiors mostly in this series that we're showing, with the moving and flowing and breaking objects, which kind of like ties with these 2 other artists, myself included, which use the material and then like transform them. In my case, in the felt piece, traditionally felt is used across the Silk Road countries, but most like in mountainous countries a lot. But in today's Georgia, the images that you create in felt are absolutely kitschy. And again, like I really love to explore that dimension as well, to like what's kitschy and like what makes it kitsch. And then like in my case, I use the technique to not make that image, but like that representatory image, but to make more on the abstract side. Whereas in mosaics, I do try to morph the existing forms and make a more flowy results. And this flower is a series of the other mosaics that I create of like larger than life garden. So it's quite impressive to see like what the stone can do, but also like every work that I do, if put together, they somehow continue, no matter is it a video art or a performance. Like if you place them together, they create the large continuous narrative, which is quite fun to explore when they're made in different techniques and with different intentions, but kind of like tied together pretty well. And
Thank you,
Tamas,
Gvantsa.
again, like, yeah, sorry.
It's interesting that you really embrace the old traditional technique, but I would like to go back to Almagul's work, which we saw in the beginning of the presentation. You use a lot AI. What does it make you to embrace this new technique, and what kind of new resources does it allow you to, what kind of new messages maybe you can actually explain with that?
Yeah, I start to do AI works 3 years ago. So, and then technology is quite very rapidly evolving, and each month it's always new tool, and it's became very accessible for everybody. So my goal is also how to use AI, because it's a very commercial instrument, and people tend to less think less, let's say. But I would like to use the tool for thinking critically, so use for ecology, so teach younger generation to use any commercial product, but thinking wisely, more critically. So there is a lot of possibilities also to work and express. All that industry with video, what we see from 60s where video art started. So because of the technology became cheaper and accessible for people. So the same is artificial intelligence. But I think it's also a different way of building an image, because artificial intelligence works with the data which is already in cyberspace. So, and there is some information not equal, because there is a certain countries, because of the certain cultural, the kind of imbalance. So certain colonizations, they don't have so much presentation digitally on the cyberspace. So it's also, we can see there is how the old problems will take over. So, and we have to resolve them. So this is my also point to work with it. Yeah, and also.
But how do you deal with this problematic? Do you feed the as AI with your own material, or how do you deal with this issue?
Yeah, I more like for this kind of make a model, kind of more like a AI assistant for artists. So you put your own works. So you don't take like styles of other artists, because usually AI taking or based. It's like a collective. It's like a different. It's a different tool. When we think about it philosophically, like different what we have in our hands. Yeah, but I'm more like to use and create your own, continue as a analog artist who were drawing and like made it with the hands a lot. So I have a big, experience. So I think it's also good to collect all your works and then make your own kind of assistant who can work and who can
based on your work.
Based on your work, yes. Also teach people how to do this, or like also kind of try to also speak with the let's say with all that in industries, because the one thing is the commercial, but another one is like really humanize this tool, make a humanization, because I think artists, we do this, we take, because
we will come back to this question of values. I will encourage audience once again to ask questions. Please use your Q&A tool, and we continue with Almagul about the what are kind of values. Also this question to Gvantsa, because we discussed last time what values do we bring in this decentralized world with the help of the art shows that we set up. I mean, as you as an artist or also as a gallerist. Almagul, what is to expect?
Yes, I think it's like I see this pictures like that it's temporary, decentralized, but all world is going to this entering. I mean, we are already like in this global, let's say, globalization process, which is actually started a long time ago. And like one of them, it was a Cold War. So it's be or not, share future or not share future. You are in my future, or I including, or I. So yes, and I see it will be more maybe some kind of control, but because all technology is actually based like a start because of the military and also the same internet and the same AI. So I think artists, they have an opportunity to humanize, so making it more like a for human and put some values, so which is we have from the analog world, so we can create it.
And in my opinion, I have more of an artist opinion on it, like from my personal perspective. My main idea is to, not main idea, maybe like one of the main goals is to like just create and keep going somehow. But I do like when people change their mind, and to like when they see something differently, and maybe it might be like absolutely opposite to what they're used to, and to somehow like motivate them or to show them that it's possible in this way as well, and show them different ways. But that's again like not necessary. I do like to give them direction, but also again, it's same as in my installations, like I give them two options. Like one is my experimental way and full of sensory experiences wherever, but the second is just traditional, like easy way to go. So I do like to give them a lot of options, the people that come to see my works, but again, give them space to avoid my art as well. So they kind of decide like which way to navigate, and that's how I approach art as well. It must be absolutely accessible to like do whatever it wants to do, to trick people's minds and grow with them, or go to like extremes with them, or to be accessible but again avoidable as well, because again, like not everyone might be interested in it, and they must have choice to ignore it in a way. So that's like absolutely general thought that I have around that question. But like the changes that I've seen through art are pretty significant in like more of a cultural and mindset way than in economic way. My idea of art is that it's a tool for artists give options to people, which they either accept or avoid, and go back again and think about it a little later maybe.
Thank you, Gvantsa. Any questions from the audience? It's the right time to ask the both of the artists. Please don't be shy.
No questions.
Well, thank you so much, sir.
Duck.
We get thanked. Gvantsa, I also want to go back maybe to your very inspired us. Thank you so much, sir. I would love to go back to our discussion last week when you shared your impression about the Abu Dhabi as a collectors or UAE region in general. Could you please maybe also come back to that? How different it is? You know, how different is maybe from the audience, like in Western art scene?
Yeah, pretty different in a way, two different ways. Like the way they are, if they're the collectors or visitors, whoever it is interested into the artwork, they are interested because of what they see or what they experience, depending on what kind of artwork that is. Not necessarily because it's by this artist. So they don't like necessarily are interested into the CV of the artist, but more of an actual artwork, which is the main difference that I saw between like the Western art fairs and the art fairs in the Emirates, which is just the questions they ask or the way they dive into it is more of a personal level than on the investment way of looking at art.
More maybe emotionally digested.
Yeah, like they are more like attracted to it as like what they take from it emotionally, not what they are putting in and what they're gonna get back, which is the main difference between the quantity of the this part and quantity of the other approach is the different in Western and Abu Dhabi Art Fair or Dubai Art Fair.
But I think it's also is reflected in the art which you represent from Georgia, because in most cases the art is done out of this necessity, you know, to speak out, to send the message out, right? Rather than just professional who is doing the art because he is positioned on the market.
Yeah, exactly. That pretty much aligns with our as a gallery approach to art and artists as well. Like we work absolutely mostly with young artists, so doing their first exhibitions maybe, or second on their first stage of making art or being in the art business, but we choose them because we like their art, we love their art, and we believe into the messages that they carry, and not necessarily what they did already. So it's kind of like similar to when the job applications ask you for a CV, and it's literally like your first job. Like we don't ask for CVs, or we just look at the art and talk to the artist. And I believe that as an artist, I do believe that that must be what matters, not how many shows you did or which publication published your work on their cover.
You're very generous, Gvantsa, on that. Almagul, what is your impression? What is your impression about these different markets?
Yeah, I have like a kind of a lot experience. So with the Arab Emirates, I work for a long time. So one of my maybe important creative, how say, my work was always with the Sharjah Art Foundation. So I was participating in Sharjah Art Biennale in last Sharjah in 2023. Also was participate and was supported commissioned my work about Kazakh famine. So it was very important also for me to share. And you know, I see also it's the also possibilities, because for me I learn a lot from the Sharjah Art Foundation for the all the March meeting. Gain a lot of colleagues, friends. So for me, I'm learning a lot, and also I felt like to also share my knowledge, because I think it's we are very much, we have to know, we have to be educated, we have to understand what happens, we have to share our experience. So I also work with a gallery in Dubai. So she's representing Natalia Andakolo. She represents Central Asian galleries, artists, and just want also to share that the gallery Pygmalion, which is will represent during the Abu Dhabi Art Fair. It's also has a very interesting concept. It's she's a kind of inviting artists from several generations, always work, make a connection between, which is very important. We are so very different from each other. So, and then we need some kind of connection. And also the founders, they were participating in Venice Biennale. So they were curating Venice Biennale recently, which is also was very interesting. They kind of combine many different media and also generations. So I think this experience for us is very important, and can be, we would like to share also with Abu Dhabi.
We're looking forward to see your work, both of your works in Abu Dhabi Art Fair. It's the last call for the questions that the audience might have. Otherwise, I am thanking the organizers, Abu Dhabi organizers, Elvira Jaltinova, also for bringing this amazing artist on board, and also to the both of the artists for making it happen. We'll wait a couple minutes more, maybe, to see if any questions are coming in. Well, then we call it a round. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time, for joining us on this lovely evening, and see you soon in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I wanted to also, can I just add also, thank you so much for organizing. And then like I see also there's a new possibility for us always communicate, make an interesting perception for art, because it's art is always evolving. And yes, I'm looking forward to see everybody, and also I mean just to combine and like make something very interesting for in contemporary art. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Almagul.
Thank you, everyone.
Maybe one commentary from my side as a curator of the Focus Silk Road Drifting Identities. I would love to thank you all the artists and galleries, and you, Julia, moderator of the artist talk. And there are much more artists who would love to share the narratives toward the new Silk Road, 10 artists and 4 galleries, and we miss not only Zhanna, but also 7 brilliant artists from your galleries, your colleagues, your partners, and please visit us and listen and watch the stories of the new Silk Road and the identities of artists who still working on the searching of their own identities and their nation identities and the cultural identities they represent. And there is nothing more to add that we are really thankful for the Abu Dhabi Art Fair team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and wishing you a lovely evening, everyone. Bye-bye.